Hello and welcome to week 2. So this recording is for Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. Our class is canceled due to the extremely cold temperature outside. So I just wanted to do a little greeting video to make sure we're on the same page as to where we are in the syllabus schedule and what your assignment is going to be. So we're in week 2. This week, had we met in person, we would have gone over spinal cord. Very little from the actual assessment chapter of the endocrine system, but definitely focusing on hypo and hyperpituitarism. A little bit about conflict resolution as well as a ticket to class assignment. Since we are not meeting for your assignment, we do have a heavy focus on chapter 37, the spinal cord, but I'm not covering anything endocrine. And the chapter 21 neuromuscular disorder and muscle spasm meds were provided to you in last week's ticket to class as recordings, so that won't be covered either today. So your asynchronous online lesson is going to be mainly over chapter 37. Next week, for week 3, we'll get into chapter 38, critical care of patients with neurological emergencies. Very briefly highlight a small amount of content that you need to know from chapter 45, assessment of the GI system, nothing too overwhelming. And if we have time, we probably will. We will then add in hypo and hyperpituitarism next week. If we don't get to it, it'll get bumped back. The first exam will remain during week 4 on February 5th. So let's look at our ticket to class. So your ticket to class for your online asynchronous lesson plus your regular ticket to class assignment starts out with recordings you need to watch. This recording, the greeting recording, is the first one. You also have recordings over multiple sclerosis. There's my general lecture, and then there's also a 7.5-minute clip about Selma Blair, who has MS. We have part 1 and part 2 of spinal cord injury, a recording over low back pain, and then a very short recording over cervical neck pain. We have 2 practice question assignments that you need to complete. They're pharmacology related. Anti-seizure practice questions from chapter 19, and then mainly Parkinson's, but there's some Alzheimer's practice questions from chapter 20. The practice questions themselves can be found under module 2. The drop boxes that you're going to submit the completed questions to by Tuesday, the 28th at 7:59 a.m. can be found under the ticket to class module. So again, you can find the questions in Canvas under module 2, chapter 19 and chapter 20. You need to submit them by Tuesday at 7:59 a.m. to the drop boxes that you can locate under Canvas ticket to class modules. The next assignment is part 2 of the Nearpod neural assessment activity. That you have your code down here to access the Nearpod assignment, and it is also due by Tuesday at 7:59 a.m. The next assignment is a duplicate assignment that you did in Adult Health 2 regarding conflict and difficult conversations. If you remember, let me find it here. If you remember your CUS tool, this tools for how to handle difficult conversations. I'm concerned, I'm uncomfortable, this is a safety issue. So you're going to have a 2-part discussion board assignment related to conflict or difficult conversations. For part 1, and notice this is due Friday by midnight, you're going to create a discussion board post detailing a clinical event that describes a conflict or mistake related to patient care. You can use an example from clinical work, create your own scenario. The clinical event should be something that would require the nurse to speak up on behalf of patient safety, ethics, or legal obligations. So that first part, initial post of a problem or a difficult discussion or conversation needs to be had because of something, is due Friday by midnight. Part 2 then is the peer response, and that's where you'll utilize your CUS tool. So for your peer response, respond to a peer's posting. Try to pick someone who doesn't have a comment yet. Utilize the CUS tool. I'm concerned, I'm uncomfortable, this is a safety issue, to describe what you would say to the provider, coworker, etc. to address your concern. The CUS tool can be found under Canvas Module 2, Conflict Resolution to CUS tool. Peer response should be a minimum of 3 sentences, because we're saying we're concerned, we're uncomfortable, and it's a safety issue but it can be longer. So that peer response is due by Tuesday the 28th at 7:59 in the morning. Finally, you have some EAQs for Chapter 37, Spinal Cord Issues. Your subtopics are spinal cord injury, achieve novice level, and also multiple sclerosis, achieve novice level. And again, those EAQs are due by Tuesday the 28th at 7:59 a.m. A reminder that any assignment that is not completed or submitted by the due date still needs to be completed, and you will have to bring verification that it's completed up to me at the beginning of class on Wednesday in order to stay in class. So please be sure to get your initial discussion board posting done by Friday at midnight, and all other parts of any assignment listed here by Tuesday at 7:59 a.m. And it's really important too that you watch those recordings, that you read Chapter 37 of the textbook first, right? Get familiar with the content. Watch the recordings where I highlight important information like I normally do in class to help you understand the information, and then complete the activities associated with it. Final reminder, content presented in this ticket to class could be included in a pop quiz next week. If you have any questions or concerns while working on your ticket to class, please don't hesitate to reach out. Stay warm, and I will see you next week.